All the best Hoya from all the cool people. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose and this is Mickey, who is not keen to be here. Yes, he is. This year I have definitely become a Hoya lover. If you want to see all of my own Hoyas, you can check them out here in a video that I recently did, my whole collection. But I've been watching content and I've been looking for more high quality Hoya content, which either is hard to find or I've already watched it all. I did spend a lot of time on YouTube. So I thought, what better to do than to ask all of my friends who love Hoyas as well to share some of their favorites of 2020 on my channel. So you can see them and I can see them. And I will also share my top 3 favorite Hoyas of this year at the end. There will be many of my friends coming up sharing their favorite Hoyas in the description below. I've linked all of their YouTube channels and Instagram accounts and everything, so you can find them after you've watched this video, of course. I definitely recommend taking notes during this video. I will as well for my wish list. There are some insane Hoyas in here. Let's stop talking and let's just get started.
Oh, hi. I was just doing my downward dog, you know, one of my yoga poses, because, you know, Rose is so good at yoga, and since she invited me to be here, I thought, why not just practice some yoga too? Because, you know, we could all use some in our lives. This is my downward dog. Okay, that's not gonna work, but we are just gonna leave all the yoga to Rose, okay? But my name is Sharina Talata here on YouTube and on Instagram, and I'm so excited to share with you my favorite ever Hoya. Hoyas are one of my favorite genus. I know you love them too if you're here, and she's known to be somewhat basic, at least in my part of the world. I'm over here in Los Angeles in Southern California, although some people have mentioned that she's a bit harder to find and expensive in other parts of the world. Dare I say she is even rare? What does that tell us? It really doesn't matter. If you love the plant, then rare, not rare, you love it. Okay, so my favorite Hoya is none other than my Hoya obovata splash with its beautiful thick circular leaves and pink splashes. I am so obsessed with this plant. I love the way it grows out. That's one of my most favorite parts. She is growing out horizontally. Wow, she needs water right now, but I love how this one grows out. It just kind of keeps getting wider and wider. The splashes are also turning a beautiful pink color because of all the sun that she is getting over here in this sunroom. Under normal circumstances, it's very bright and very sunny today. The camera is just making me look a little bit brighter, but right now it's so gloomy and it's freezing. It's like 60 degrees, okay? And that's cold here. She gets so much light, very easy to care for, and just so beautiful. Highly recommend for any beginner Hoya lovers and any, you know, expert Hoya lovers. This is something that you will enjoy and love and cherish forever, just like I do. So get a Hoya obovata. I'm just kidding, but thank you so much, Rose, for allowing me to be here. I hope you enjoyed it, and also Happy New Year!
Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Indonesia. Thank you so much, Rose, for including me in this video. I really love Hoyas and to talk about them, so I'm going to share with you 3 Hoyas that are close to my heart that I can't stop looking at. But before we do that, I do have a channel called Only Plants, and I'm also at botanist on Instagram, so if you want to keep in touch, you want to see my videos, do check it out later. But first of all, do like this video, comment down below, and do subscribe to Miss Rose's YouTube channel because she is awesome. And the first plant is this Hoya wayetii variegata, and it's actually really beautiful for its colors, and it's also got these elongated leaves that are just really unique. And this is very befitting plant for today's video because the color of the leaves are very similar to the painting I have behind me, where it's got like greens, yellows, a little bit of pink and purple. It's just a very vibrant plant, and it's got such complicated color mix within it that makes it very unique. This plant is very slow to grow, however, and it will put out a leaf every month or so. Seriously, this is a very slow growing Hoya. And it seems to respond really well to light, as in if you give it some direct sunlight, it will give you this red blush, it will give you more variegation. But if you give it a lower light, like in the back of this pot, it reverts back to green. And I don't really mind the green plant either. I think all plants are beautiful, but if you want to encourage variegation, do give it more light and do not overwater it. So the next Hoya that I really love is this Hoya, krohniana, super Eskimo. And I believe there's the regular krohnianas, there's also the Eskimos, which is a little bit less variegated than this, but the super Eskimo is super wide. You can barely see any green in them. And surprisingly, this is a really fast grower. I would imagine that because it's got a lot of variegations, a lot of white, it would be pretty slow, but no. And these are actually all propagates. So I've started with one strand of plant that I bought about 6 or 7 months ago, and I just propagated it. And I do have a huge propagation video for Hoyas in case you haven't checked that out. And I'm going to propagate this some more actually, because imagine a huge flowing basket of this. And the way that you propagate it would be to just cut each node and just lay it on top of sphagnum moss or any kind of media and let the root go into the media. A new branch will form from the node. It's very easy to propagate, and I find that very fast to grow again. So this is a very satisfying Hoya, not only for its beauty, but also for how easy it is to grow and propagate. I find it's also very forgiving. And I have a feeling that if you give this lower light, it will shed a little bit of the variegation. It will revert a little bit back to green. So keep that in mind. Do give this very bright light, and just like any other Hoyas, do not overwater. And the last Hoya is this Hoya vitellina, and it's actually really beautiful with dark green foliage, thick leathery texture on the leaves. It's got really beautiful black rim around it and some perfect veinations. And if you look up close at the leaves, they actually have some splashes on the leaves that are really random and really beautiful. And what I really like about this plant is that it is very easy to propagate, and it grows really quickly. Here are the siblings of the plant that I have propagated from just this one plant. And it's endemic to Java Island, which is exactly where I'm at right now, so that's great. So I hope that you found some of these Hoyas interesting. I want to wish you guys a happy new year. Stay safe and take care of each other, and enjoy the rest of this video. Bye!
Hello, my name's Corky, and you can find me on YouTube and Instagram with the name Corky's Flora. I love to chat about my Hoyas, and here are two of my favorites. This is Hoya vitellinoides. I got this about 2 years ago from Gardino Nursery. I consider this one of my faster growing Hoyas, and when you don't keep chopping it back like I do, the leaves can grow really large. So it's all around a very instant gratification Hoya. Look at that veining. If you can find this one, you should definitely pick it up because it's tolerant of neglect and it's gorgeous and large. The next Hoya that I consider one of my favorites is Hoya serpens. I received this plant as 2 or 3 small cuttings about 8 or 9 months ago. I rooted it in leca, and ever since then it has grown really fast. It keeps branching off all on its own, so I didn't have to chop and propagate this in the pot to get this as full and long as it is. It's just been a delight to watch because really it's grown without me doing much of anything. I just give it water and nutrients, and it's been a happy camper. So I hope that if you have serpens or find it in the future, that it will grow as well for you. And I also hope that you all have a great new year and happy planting.
Hey folks, my name is Gerard. I'm an exotic plant collector. You can find me on YouTube at Gerard's Horticulture Culture, and I take pictures of my plant collection and I post them on Instagram at Gerard's_horticulture_culture. My top favorite Hoyas of 2020, I want to start out with the Hoya obovata. The splashes on this plant and the structure, the look, the care, the feel, the flowering, they all come together with most of the Hoyas I want to talk about, but this one in particular, it stands in a category of its own. So that's why I literally fell in love with it the first month I saw it. I bought it online. Now it's starting to be more common, which I'm so happy that it's spreading throughout the world, and I just can't say enough. I'm waiting for it to flower. Actually, I divided this plant 3 ways since I had it in 2 years. And I believe the plant that I traded off, it was starting to flower, and I didn't get a chance to see that. But hopefully with my other 2 remaining cuttings, I will start to see my Hoya obovata flower, because that's what is cool. The one thing that's cool about Hoyas, they all flower. They have those nice, intricate looking white, pink, red. The flowerings are great, but I just didn't get an opportunity. Up next is my Hoya carnosa, the Hindu rope. This was another common plant that I used to see at my local big box stores. I was very just in awe of the structure of these leaves. You just can't deny it. It just looks like, literally like rope, and it's just like one of those ones that, those spectacles of nature that you need in your house. Easy care plant, common everywhere, and the care of this is spectacular. It's so easy. You just need to give it moderate light, between 200 to 250 foot candles. That's what I give to most of my Hoyas, and they grow very well. I haven't had any pest problems. The third Hoya that I want to talk about is my Hoya retusa. This is another structural beauty that I bought that I just said I gotta have it. My population of my collection is growing, and I'm starting to bring it down, but I know I'm probably going to be stuck with these 3 Hoyas, including this Hoya retusa, for a long time, because of the way it grows, the ease of care of it. And I'm all about easy care, great looking plants, but these 3 Hoyas, I want to say they are super easy for me to care for properly and not add to stress in my life. And I strongly suggest you guys pick up one. If you haven't got one, just grab one. They're common everywhere. And once again, my name is Gerard. I'm an exotic plant collector. Keep growing. Happy New Year!
Hey guys, my name is Nicolette, and I am the face behind the plant Instagram account called Hoya_anonymous. And so Rose has actually asked me to pick top 3 favorite Hoyas, but that's quite difficult to ask. But I was able to narrow it down. So my first Hoya is actually this cute silvery guy. This one is called Hoya CV Grey Ghost, and it is a cultivar carnosa crossed with, I forgot. But yeah, it is very beautiful. It has silvery leaves, and it's definitely always been a top favorite of mine. And if it's not on your wish list, why? So my next one is this kind of like odd shaped looking Hoya. And what I love about this is not only the unique shape of the foliage, but look how light stressed it is. It's very beautiful, considering the fact that I grow mainly indoors with all these grow lights. I was able to just naturally light stress this. I love the reddish purplish hue that it gives the foliage. I love the flecks on it, and just look at this cute like cup shaped spoon like leaves. How could you not love it? And my last one is actually this behemoth. Well, it's not a behemoth, but it has massive leaves, so I love it. And it's very special to me because this was actually gifted to me by a friend that I had made through the plant community. Her name is Olga, and this is my Hoya CV Joy. Also light stressed again, but I love the contrast between the veins and the wine colored leaves. Very beautiful. It's rooted for me like crazy as well. I originally gotten it like this, and it has turned into this beauty. So yeah, these are my top 3. I hope you guys enjoy it, and Happy New Year!
Hi, my name is Camilla, and I live and grow my Hoyas in Sweden. If you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on Facebook. See you there!
One of my favorite Hoyas is Hoya lacunosa, and I want to show some of its variations here today. I have here Hoya lacunosa SV403, which has small dark leaves with small dimples in them. I find it very beautiful. I also have lacunosa that I bought as big leaves. This one. It has large, nice leaves and also larger umbels than most lacunosas. Another very beautiful Hoya lacunosa is the royal flush. It has a lot of silver in it, and under the right conditions the leaves turn a bit purple. The third one is lacunosa snowcaps. It has a lot of silver on the leaves, this one too. And it's just totally beautiful. I also want to show you this nice cross between Hoya obscura and Hoya lacunosa. It's called Hoya sunrise. And with this cow data, I wish you all a happy new year.
Hi guys, my name is Ashley from Planting the World Red. I hope that you'll check out my channel as well at Planting the World Red. And Roos asked me to do my top 3 favorite Hoyas of 2020. So here we go. My first favorite Hoya of 2020, it has a hair on it, is Hoya brevialata. So this Hoya I absolutely love. I actually ordered it 2 different times from 2 different places. The first one I got from Pepper's Greenhouse, which I have an unboxing on my channel. It was pretty small, maybe 2 strands, 5 leaves. And the second I got from Steve's Leaves. And the one I got from Steve's Leaves was so full and so big, so I combined the pots and now it's trailing. And this one, ever since I got it a few months ago, has just taken off and I absolutely love them. The leaf shape is very circular. It kind of reminds me of like a miniature obovata, but cooler because it actually has a cup shape as well. So this is my first Hoya and it's Hoya brevialata. My second favorite is Hoya dakii. Now this Hoya has been spelled a variety of different ways and this is how I have it spelled in my name tag, but I absolutely love this Hoya. I also love it because of the shape of the leaves. It kind of looks like a Hoya carrii with the heart shapes, but even cooler because it has the nice veining and even it has, I'd call it semi-silver, like a light green splashing, which makes it even better of a plant. I just absolutely love it. And a side note is I also love the growing pattern. Now, I don't see this a lot in Hoyas, but this one actually grows in a clumping form, which I think is super cute. So usually you'll see just vines, and this one does vine, but it starts off clumping. So it has like 10 leaves coming from the same stalk. So I absolutely love this Hoya, and this is my second favorite of 2020, Hoya dakii. And my third and final favorite Hoya of 2020 is Hoya mauna loa. This is my favorite Hoya compacta variety, simply because it looks like the green form from far away, but it kind of gives you like a little treat when you get up close and personal, and it has the white on the inside. I've also seen this Hoya called regalis at the beginning when it was first coming out, but I'm not actually sure about that. I actually traded for a huge pot of the Hoya compacta mauna loa, and I think it had root rot when I first got it, so that one completely died. It's dead, it's done with. So I traded again for this strand. It started off with this strand, and it's about as long as when I got it, or maybe a little longer. And this summer, it just took off for me. So I've cut it a total of 4 times, and it just keeps on growing like gangbusters. So I cut it at the end and it's growing a new growth. The new growth usually comes out pink, which is so cute. And it's also growing at the base as well. And then I also have a piece that I rooted and propagated and put back into the pot just to make it a little more full of a pot. So we're growing this girl out and I'm so excited to see what she looks like this time next year. So that was my top 3 favorite Hoyas of 2020. Thank you so much, Roos, for thinking of me for coming on to this collab. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys think about what are your top 3 favorite Hoyas of 2020. I hope you guys have a great day and a happy new year. Bye!
Hello friends, my name is Adam, and my channel name is Knot Dude, K-N-O-T Dude, and that is because I used to make macrame. You can see an example right here behind me. This hobby kind of went well with my plant hobby, and now I have places and things to hang my plants in. But anyway, Rose invited me on her channel to show you my top Hoya of 2020, and I gotta be honest, it was really difficult to narrow it down to 3, but I did. So without further ado, here are my top 3 Hoya of 2020. Now, my first one should be no surprise. I talk about this plant on my channel all the time, and it is my Hoya obovata variegata splash. And this plant I did get in 2019, but in 2020, it is still at the top of my list. I absolutely adore this Hoya. And it's grown from just a 2-leaf cutting. It was a 2-leaf 1-node cutting, and it's grown this beautiful plant that I have actually cut multiple times to propagate and to share. And you can see this entire stem here is an offshoot of the main plant where I cut it, and it just grows so well, and it's got this beautiful splashy foliage. So this one definitely had to be on my top 2020 list. Now, my next favorite Hoya of 2020 is this Hoya carnosa Wilbur Graves. And this one was another import Hoya that I was afraid wasn't going to make it. It was a very small cutting and it wasn't rooted, and here we are now. It's made it, it's happy, it's grown this entire tendril, it's put off a bunch of new leaves, and these leaves, again, like the obovata variegata splash, are a splashy dream. Some of them have come out not so splashy. You can kind of see this one here. But then ones after it, obviously, are just full of that splashy goodness. And it's growing really well and really quickly. So that makes me really happy. So this is why this Hoya has made it into my top favorite Hoyas of 2020. And finally, the last Hoya that I want to put in the top category of 2020 is this Hoya AH074. I love watching these leaves develop on this plant as well, because when they come in, they're a solid green, but they have a little bit of a red tinge to them. That's the anthocyanins in the leaf protecting it. And as it matures, you slowly see the pattern of this variegation develop. And it's just beautiful because every single leaf is different. So there we have it. Those are my top 3 favorite Hoya from 2020. Thank you, Rose, for inviting me on your channel to talk about Hoya, which is one of my favorite genus of plants. So yeah, thanks for watching, and check out my channel if you haven't already. And thank you again, Rose. Happy New Year.
Hey planty peeps, my name is Kanisha, also known as Niche, and I am the host of Niche's Plants both on YouTube and Instagram. In searching me, that's N-I-C-H-E with the accent over it, S_plant. So do come and say hello. So today I'm going to share with you my current 2 favorite Hoya, and that is number one, the Hoya carnosa compacta, also known as the Hoya compacta crinkle curl. I love this plant because the leaves are glossy, they're bold, and they're creative in their structure, hence why I would have the name the crinkle curl, because they literally are crinkled but curly. And that's literally what caught my attention with this plant was the leaves. I hadn't seen anything like it, and they were really just prominent and bold, and they stood out. This plant also blossoms gorgeous star-shaped flowers, which I can't wait for mine to blossom, but I'll show you what those flowers look like. And yeah, so it was just, I thought this plant was very unique and intriguing. I know there's different varieties, working on collecting those, but that's what stood out for me and why it's one of my favorite. My second would be the Hoya polyneura, also known as the fishtail Hoya, as many of you may know. I remember walking into a garden center and it was hanging, the light was shining through and just made the veins really prominent, and that's literally what caught my eye. And in looking at this plant, realizing one, the shape of the leaf, but also two, the veins remind me of like when you're sketching and you've got that really fine but defined pencil and those outlines. That's what it looked like to me. And I think I love these plants because they both have a creativity to them. There's like a creative aspect that drew me to them, which I was like, I like these. So those are why they are my favorite too. So thanks for being here with me. Happy New Year.
Hi there, I'm James. I'm super excited to be doing this. Thank you, Rose, for asking me. My YouTube channel is James Armstrong with a little W at the end. My Instagram is slugplants, and yeah, I'm here to talk about 2 of my favorite Hoya. I was going to do 3, but I couldn't like shuffle them around, so I'm just going to go for the 2 that I have here. And these are ones that kind of every time I see them, something special is happening, or they just have some kind of special something that makes me smile. The first one that I want to talk about is my Hoya obovata Amelia. Yeah, it was named after a cat, which I think is kind of cool. The leaves are variegated on the edges. I think it's just such a pretty plant. It's like beautiful, but also obovata in general, like how succulent the leaves are, how big they can get. I just think it's super, super cool. Does not currently have anything to climb on. At some point I will give it something to climb on. It's in pon. It's one of my first few Hoya experiments with pon. I've got 7 or 8 different Hoya in pon at the moment. And yeah, this is one of the ones that's doing super, super well. I went away for a couple of weeks and essentially like this leaf little bit here is new. So yeah, I'm growing it in my grow tent. Every time I see it, it's just such a joy, and I'm excited to see it bloom. I'm assuming they'll just be typical obovata blooms, but you know, it's always exciting. Moving straight on to the next one, I'm not going to spend super long on this because I mean, they kind of speak for themselves and I end up just rambling otherwise. This one I got as a single leaf cutting about almost a year and a half ago, I think, maybe a little bit less, from mainland Europe. This is a Hoya Michel. It's just, oh, I mean, look at that. It's one of my all-time favorite Hoya, I think, because obviously I love splash. I love a bit of like something interesting on the leaves, but these are just like so huge as well. It's hard for me to show you, but that leaf in particular is just like, I didn't realize that it was I thought this leaf when I got it, this was the leaf it came with. I thought it was an anomaly and all the other leaves were going to be like more like this size. Or this one, but somehow they've carried on getting bigger and bigger, and it just partially it's having had it so long and it having a little bit of a rocky start because I didn't have the right conditions for it initially. I had the wrong conditions for essentially all of my Hoya, so I'm surprised any of those first batch survived, but some of them did, and this is one of them. And yeah, it grew really, really big. I wound up the long vines that it put out into this pot, so it has actually probably some pretty good roots. I haven't checked for a long time. And yeah, there it is. This is the Hoya Michel. So there are my 2 Hoya. Thank you so much, Rose, for the opportunity just to share a little bit of the Hoya appreciation, and have a happy new year. Goodbye.
Hi everybody, my name is Cynthia and I'm at the Plant BBZ here on YouTube and on Instagram. And I like to share my collection, which consists mostly of tropicals and a lot of Hoyas. So I'm very much addicted to Hoyas, as you might be able to notice from my background. So narrowing it down to, 2 to 3 favorites was really hard. I did choose 3. The first one is going to be this Hoya fungii. And I just love the leaves and the pattern, and the undersides have like this fuzzy texture. And this is one of my favorites because I got this at a swap from one of my planty friends. And ever since, we've just been really close plant friends. So this always reminds me of her. And I just love it. It's grown so much for me. This started from I think 2 or 3 leaf cutting. So I just love it. It's one of my favorites for sure. So if you could get a hold of this one, I highly suggest that you do. The next one that I'm gonna share is this one. And this is Hoya macrophylla. I think that's how you say it. I always mess up the names. Recently, because of my grow lights, this one has really started turning a different color there. It's like stressing. I wouldn't call it sun stress, I guess light stress, because It's under my grow lights, and I grow most of my collection under grow lights because I don't have, you know, super huge or a super bright area in my house. I love it because it was relatively inexpensive when I bought it, and it has grown so much, and I love that the leaves have gotten so big. I didn't expect them to get this big, honestly, but I just think it's so beautiful. And the last one that I'm gonna share is this one. This is my Hoya Michelle, and I just love its newest leaves. They're just so beautiful to me. I hope it's picking up the splash on it. It's just so beautiful. When I got this, it was only 2 leaves or 3, and it has given me these bigger leaves, and I just love this one. I don't know if you could tell, but the first leaves that it came with didn't really have it much splash. So I mean, it didn't bother me or anything, but I know you see these and they're really splashy. So I was hoping to get really splashy leaves, and it has given me these really splashy ones. If you could get a cutting from a friend or do a swap, I would really suggest that you do that, because this is definitely a really pretty one to have in your collection. I just love Hoyas. I'm surprised that I was able to narrow it down to those 3. Thank you, Rose, for inviting me to be on your channel and in this video, and Happy New Year's!
Hello, my name is Miro and I have a channel here on YouTube, Basie Plants. I also have an Instagram page at basie.plants. It's not a secret that I love Hoyas, okay? People have told me multiple times to shut up and stop talking about Hoyas, but I just simply cannot, okay? I cannot. It's no surprise that I picked 3 Hoyas, the maximum number that I can show, and I may have cheated and I put another Hoya in the background. First Hoya that I would like to show you is something that Rose also has, and it's Hoya meredithii. This Hoya, it had some issues this year, okay? It's been a tough year for it. We all had a difficult year. It had red spider mites, it grew and died back, and it's fine, it's fine. Evil mites. I love about this Hoya is that it put out this wonderfully big leaf. I was very jealous of Rose and her clone that produces humongous leaves, so I was very happy when I got this one. It is quite big, it's just that my head is very large, so that's why you can't tell, but it is big. What I love about this Hoya is the contrast between the leaf and the veining, and I adore that it's a mate leaf. I do love all Hoyas, so I will love the Hoyas with glossy leaves, but this is kind of what I prefer. Another Hoya that I really love is Hoya elliptica. In my opinion, this is one of the most interesting Hoyas. I do say that for all of them, okay? As you can tell, I do love my contrast between the leaf and the veins, but this one is quite different than the Hoya meredithii that I showed to you. Also, this Hoya means kind of a lot to me. It's from my very good friend from Sweden, and so it has a special place in my heart. The last Hoya that I would like to show you is also one of my newest ones, and it is Hoya undulata. I just love you so much. I know it's not healthy. I know some people have a very divided opinion, but if you ask me, this is one of the most beautiful Hoyas. I just love the leaf and the shape of the leaf. The size of the leaf is also quite amazing. It has everything that you would want in a Hoya. It doesn't have that glossy leaf that, you know, I don't like so much. And it has the silver spots. And in my opinion, this is much more interesting than getting a full gray carnosa. What's up with that, people? This is like much more special. It does produce very beautiful flowers, and obviously this is a very small cutting, and this is kind of like what you get with this one. It is slow to grow, but I do hope that we will produce many, many leaves and many, many new vines. Right? Those were some of my favorite Hoyas. Honestly, I could just show you any Hoya and it would still be true, so you know, doesn't mean I don't like the rest of them. I hope you are having wonderful holidays. Happy New Year!
Hi, my name is Camille, and I'm the Hoya-loving plant lady behind Plant Blurred on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm the founder of Black People with Plants on Instagram. Let's talk about Hoyas. That's easily my favorite plant family, but my top 3, well, that was so hard to pick. I think I've narrowed it down to the right ones. For sure, my number 1 pick goes to my Hoya compacta. just the dark green one. I have the albo marginata and I have the variegata, but this green one, it edges them both out because this is the Hoya that started it all. She kicked off my absolute Hoya obsession. And I think I love her so much because she reminds me of hair. I mean, aren't we 20? So I love this plant. I hope this year I get some blooms, but if not, I love her either way. Now my other two picks are my Hoya Crimson Princess. Not to be confused with the Queen. The Queen's edges are white, and that's how you can tell the difference between the two. And I love this one so much because there's so much variety in just one pot. We have dark green leaves, we have variegated leaves, pink and green leaves, but the thing that I love the most, the new leaves roll out almost this red color and they eventually fade, but I just find that so fascinating and I love this plant. My last pick is my Hoya pubicalyx Hawaiian splash. I love this plant so much. I love the way the new leaves roll out so dark purple, almost black in the summertime when it's really sun stressed. I mean, they're just gorgeous. And it grows so wild, even though it's on a yew trellis. We have all these vines. I feel like it's reaching out to say hello. But my favorite part about it is how when the leaves fade, after they harden off, look at all that splash. I mean, I love the variegated Hoyas too, but the splash leaves are for sure my favorite because it's such a distinct feature. I think it's only Hoyas that are like that. And I mean, I just find that to be just gorgeous. So those are my top three. And I'm happy to say goodbye to 2020 and Happy New Year.
Hey guys, I'm Alessia over on Lessia's Leaves on YouTube and Instagram. We're talking about our 3 favorite Hoya this year, and mine probably has to start off with my Hoya Mathilde, this beautiful, beautiful creature. The tiny leaves, scrumptious. The growth rate, amazing. It's just a really beautiful plant and I could not recommend it more. The next favorite plant that I have definitely has to be my Hoya Bella variegata. I think it is also known as the Luis Bois type. Luis Bois. I have no idea how to say the name, but this babe has also been grown from a tiny little mom plant. I pretty much just took cuttings from it. I got it. It was sad. It had spider mites. I rehabbed it and now she is looking lush and beautiful. I adore this plant to no end. And it just grows at such a beautiful rate, at such a beautiful pattern. I adore her. And she 100% had to make it in my top 3 favorite Hoya of 2020. And then my last plant has to be my Hoya linearis. I got this baby, I think, literally like a year ago today. And it is just like grown an insane amount. I feel like at the beginning of this year it was 100% super hyped up. It was really difficult to find, but now I feel like it's a little bit easier to access. It has grown immensely. It's just such a beautiful plant that I feel like every beginner should have, and I don't know, I feel like it stood out as a plant of 2020, right? I think so. But yeah, I think that's all of the plants that I wanted to talk about. I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday season and Happy New Year.
Were you taking notes for your wish list? I definitely was. It's finally time for my top 3 favorite Hoyas of 2020. And I definitely picked these based on what we've already seen because some of my favorites were definitely mentioned already and I didn't want to pick any doubles. I did want to show you Maggie real quick. She just walked in from outside and she's nice and wet and fluffy. I'm not very keen on cuddling. My first favorite one is this one. This is my Hoya erythrina and I got this with 2 leaves here at the bottom and a tendril with nothing on it. And since then it has grown so many leaves, which is amazing. I'm so impressed by this plant, and this one is actually growing a tendril now as well, not just 2 leaves or 3 leaves, but a tendril. So that's doing really, really well. This one lives in my terrarium. It is in a very small pot, I think I will need to repot it quite quickly, but I am going to wait until spring just to make sure that it is okay. It does also want some water. Why I picked this one is not only because it grows so fast and all the nodes are activated. Literally all the nodes that it came with have grown. That is insane and amazing. It's going to be such a nice bushy plant. But also the shape of these leaves is amazing. A little bit like an oval with a little point at the end. And the veins are a little bit darker and they are, I don't know what the right word is for this, but they like stand up a little bit, which I love. I absolutely love. Some of these do look a little bit battered. That is completely my fault because I didn't give them the right amount of light or they were growing against the side of the terrarium. So don't blame this plant for that, blame me. And I've also seen that if you give this enough light, it sun stresses into a super dark purplish brown. So that is my first pick, Hoya erythrina. The second one I want to show you is actually cut into two parts. These are my two cuttings of Hoya clemensiorum. Both of them have not grown leaves yet, just tendrils, but I'm very, very excited that they rooted and that they are alive. I made this into two. I had one cutting, but I cut it into two because I wanted to make sure that it survived. I've had some expensive cuttings die on me. The mailman is coming. So I wanted to make sure that this survived. So I have one in soil, which is my regular growing medium. And I feel confident growing in soil. But because these were kind of hard to get cuttings, why is my head so dark now? Jesus, that's the mailman. One moment. And we are back. This video is very interrupty. Anyway, we were talking about Hoya clemensiorum, which is an amazing Hoya. I love it because it's so prehistoric looking. The veins are kind of higher up and its sun stresses really nicely as well. But what I was saying was I'm growing one of them in soil, my regular growing mix, and the other part of the cutting I put in ceramis to check out. My friends who are experienced with Hoyas recommended, but both of them actually did pretty similar. They rooted well, they are growing tendrils, and I gave them little supports so that hopefully the leaves will come out as well. So both were a success. I'd love to hear what your favorite medium is to root these in because it's always interesting to hear about that and to hear other people's experiences. These leaves are definitely some of my favorites in my whole Hoya collection and I couldn't not share them with you. The last Hoya I want to show you is of course my Hoya Super Moi we call it. This one I got almost exactly 1 year ago, December 15th. As a branch with a few leaves on it that I rolled up onto the soil. It didn't do anything until March and then it just exploded. As you hopefully can see, it is so big right now and I've already taken cuttings for my friends. We don't know exactly what this is. I've said this many times before. We got this as cuttings from a plant that was labeled Sp. It hasn't flowered yet, so we don't know exactly what it is yet, but we suspect it might be a Hoya Murilli. It grows such beautiful, huge leaves with beautiful veining. And at the top there, maybe you can see there is some sun stress happening, which the mother plant of this one actually is almost completely red because it gets so much light where it lives. So that's amazing. And I might want to try and give this more light without burning it. I've rolled it up several times because it got so long, which is amazing as well. And in the back here, actually, I had not seen that, but there are some baby leaves growing. And they are so adorable. I'll show you some close-ups so you can see them better. This is one of the first Hoyas that I ever got and I'm so proud that it's still alive and still looking so beautiful. Thanks again to everyone who joined this collaboration. I really enjoyed seeing your beautiful plants and your lovely messages and just you being so funny, some of you. That really made my editing journey so much more fun. And you guys at home, please let me know if you enjoyed this kind of content and which one of the Hoyas made it onto your wish list. Some of them definitely made it onto mine. You'll see my wish list video coming out in the beginning of the new year. I'm still working on that because there is a lot of plants on there. Like I said in the beginning, I've linked everyone's channels and Instagrams below, so please go check them out as well. Subscribe to their channels, follow them on Instagram and all the things. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We will love to see you in the new year for more planty and feel-good content. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful change of year and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
It's a Happy New Year.
Have a great new year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Bye! This is Mickey. Mwah. Mickey, you're throwing everything over. These are my notes, Mickey. I need those. Okay, go. Chill with the Hoyas. Don't hurt my tendrils. Okay. Focus. Hey! Kom je naar verklooien? Wait, is my hair on my mic the whole time? Can you not hear me at all now? I hope it was okay. Take 20,000. And the light is changing. That's not good. Why is it so light behind me but not on me? This is very annoying. My lighting setup was perfect before and then the sunlight changed. What do I do? Adam, what do I do? The lighting has changed again. It's really dark. I cannot do this like this. This is too dark. How's this? Better? Yeah. And I feel Why is my head so dark now? Jesus, that's the mailman. They are tiny and the lighting is changed again, so I'm totally washed out. That is fun. This video is awesome. Anyway, super washed out again. Jeez Louise. Is this better? Can we focus on my face now? Hello? Mother of...